A new creamery will soon be opening in Bloomington, providing a fresh local option for on-the-shelf dairy. According to its owner, Twin Springs Creamery will be filling a gap that has existed in the area for some time. Clayton Baumgarth spoke with the business as well as other experts in the industry to learn about the challenges faced by dairy farmers in Indiana.
These cows will consume 25 gallons of water apiece per day.
On the far western reaches of Bloomington sits Twin Springs Creamery, a new dairy farm that aims to have grade A pasteurized products on local store shelves in the very near future. At the moment, Twin Springs has 4 Jersey cows, Rosie, Luna, Skittles, and Genevieve, that will make the company's product line of plain and flavored milks and yogurts. It's no small feat in today's industry climate. Many dairy farmers at this scale send the milk or cream from their cows to a separate operation to be processed before being sold on the market. James Farmer, one of the owners of Twin Springs Creamery, says they plan to do all the milking and processing on site.
We were able to look at smaller scale equipment like this 100-gallon vat pasteurizer, and there are different companies that manufacture these, and so 30 years ago, it may not have been as possible to find the equipment to do it at this scale.
It takes a lot to get an operation like this off the ground. There's agencies to report to, such as the Board of Animal Health, that require on-site testing equipment, the devices that do the milking of the cows, and all of the stainless steel vats to keep the product sanitary. Farmer says that this venture was made possible thanks to an $85,000 grant from the Dairy Business Initiative.
They paid for the pasteurizer, the chart recorder, the chiller behind me, and some other, a little bit more equipment, as well as helping with some marketing and getting a website developed. So without that, this part of the operation would not be possible.
Farmer has been interested in being a dairy farmer since he was 8 years old.
I remember going to Martha Miller's Jersey farm on New Garden Road as a kid, and then I grew up judging cows in 4-H and showing cows in 4-H and then FFA and being part of that.
And to his knowledge, Twin Springs will be the only grade A dairy facility in Monroe and the surrounding counties. And other than one facility in Brown County, he's not wrong. In an industry that has gone through as much consolidating in the last few decades as dairy has, this is by no means uncommon. According to Steve Obert, Executive Director for Indiana Dairy Producers, Indiana is the 15th highest dairy producing state in the country.
We produce a little over 4 million pounds of milk a day. That leaves our state borders for other processing.
Obert says there are just under 700 grade A dairy farms in the state. He also says that a majority of the farms work through what is called a farmer-owned cooperative to sell their products. Prairie Farms, O'Brien, and Dairy Farmers of America are all examples of farmer-owned cooperatives. In these business arrangements, farmers act as both shareholders and contractors that must meet certain quotas in order to get their equity.
The profits of the cooperative, as well as maybe some deductions off of your own milk check, get put into that equity account, and then so that the cooperative has money to operate with.
Historically, these co-ops have caused a sort of hollowing out of the industry, where smaller farms have a hard time being profitable if not aligned with a large processor. But Obert says that businesses like Twin Springs Creamery are a part of the latest development in the industry, where an interest in locally sourced dairy products is allowing smaller, private operations to be successful. Twin Springs is one of 37 dairy farms in the state operating in this way.
They want to know where their food comes from. And that helps create value to the farmer himself, because he can sell, he's basically creating value on who he is and how he does things. And that's beginning a little more popular.
Another problem the industry has been dealing with involve our neighbors to the north, Canada. Since the 70s, Canada has operated on a quota system, which tightly controls how much dairy farmers can produce and limits imports through tariffs. On one hand, the control helps stabilize income for Canadian dairy farmers. On the other, dairy-producing countries like New Zealand and the United States feel it's an unfair way to shelter the industry. The U.S. has attempted to open up trade with varying degrees of success involving the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. After winning one case with little change on Canada's part, the National Milk Producers Federation just concluded its second USMCA case on the grounds that Canada's quota system doesn't line up with USMCA responsibilities.
We worked quite closely with the U.S. government, that's U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Trade Representative's Office, to encourage them to bring a second case and focus quite strongly on the need for a ruling across these various problematic measures.
The USMCA rules in favor of Canada in that case, and now the U.S. and National Milk Producers Federation are attempting to plan their next steps.
I think what we have been really encouraged by is the statements from both the administration and bipartisan members of Congress saying this can't be the end of the line. Like, this decision simply makes no sense.
Morris says the issue is an important one because it causes incrementally downward pressure on milk prices and losses for everyday farmers.
When we see a trading partner that should be as law-abiding and positive a one as Canada is, given the U.S.-Canadian relationship, basically thumbing its nose at its obligations to us, well, that's pretty concerning.
Being able to export dairy products to Canada would eventually raise the prices of these goods and allow more people like James Farmer to make a proper living dairy farming without having to bring in a third-party co-op. For Indiana News Desk, I'm Clayton Baumgarth.
You can look for Twin Springs Creamery products at the Bloomington Winter Farmers Market, the Bloomington Farm Stop Collective, and eventually Blooming Foods.